Going live, and we're live. Welcome, everyone. Of course, you know me. I'm Jabril Suleiman. I'm the founder of Incluzion, and this is another episode of FlexWork TV. So, what is FlexWork TV? That's something that we started during COVID to highlight professionals, whether they're looking for work, whether they're working as a freelancer now. We want to be able to give a platform to individuals who are out there working diligently, living their best lives, taking advantage of work-life balance and many of the things that many of you want to do. And, especially during a time like this where there's a pandemic out there, it's good to know who's out there doing what you're doing and learning from those individuals. So today we have a very special guest, Miss Soul Ballard. Miss Soul Ballard, she is actually, I found her on another platform, another site, and not the site, and found her on another freelancing site and brought her in, wanted to engage with her as a brand ambassador. And so we have, if you've seen some of our latest remote job videos that's talking about the different job descriptions, the job postings that we have. I actually have one in the queue now that I need to send over to you. Then you'll see now that she's the new face of Incluzion in regards to many aspects. And she will be in my seat as well as host of future FlexWork TV episodes, talking to great guests like herself. Welcome, Soul.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm so excited. I love everything that Incluzion stands for. I'm just honored to be here and honored to be a brand ambassador all around.
Thank you for accepting. I mean, look, I've gone through your background, and you've had a very diverse. I mean, if we want to stay on the word of diversity and inclusion, but you've done so many things, from working as a journalist, actually being a TV personality, in the newsroom as an anchor. You are now a mindset ninja, right?
Yes, exactly.
Tell me a little bit about that background. What has led you through these different professions, and what has led you now to the point where you're coaching others in their mindset and bringing prosperity to people's mental health?
Yes. So I know that at a glance, it may seem like, okay, what do all these things have to do with one another? To me, they are all one, cohesive career journey. But there is some explanation. So I'm going to start way back, a few years back. So once upon a time, I lived a very self-destructive lifestyle. We're talking about arrest. We're talking about ER visits. It was wild time in my life. It was very crazy. And on my 5th time that I got arrested, yes, I got arrested 5 times. I decided I was sitting in this jail cell, and I was thinking, is this what I want my life to be about? Is this what I want tied to my name? I had heard, the police officer call my name, and it was just like my name just got called out, in this jail cell. And it was like, is this what my parents worked so hard for? Is this what, my father grew up during segregation, and being a Black man in America during the time, any time, but during especially his time, it was something that was very challenging, and he managed to break past that. And so I'm thinking of all these things. My mom is an immigrant from Mexico, and I'm thinking, is this what I'm doing with everything they worked so hard for?
Right.
So I decided, no, this is not my story. This is not how my narrative ends. I want to do something about it. So growing up, I always had a passion for TV. I used to watch these telenovelas, like these Spanish soap operas, the Mexican ones. And I was like, that's me. I was just so obsessed with TV. And in high school, I did the high school news. I was just always, obsessed with video. And I decided, in order to, I never thought that I would really, really go into it, because I had like all of these limiting beliefs, and I just didn't think that I would, would be able to do something on TV. But I did, I enrolled in acting school as a way to keep myself out of trouble. So I was like, okay, so I'm no longer going to party. I'm no longer going to hang out with the toxic friends. I'm going to get rid of the toxic relationships. I'm like, what do I do now? Like, I didn't even know how to be normal. So I enrolled in acting school. I was in college at the time, and I fell in love. It was just like, it was amazing. I was obsessed with acting school, and I was there for a few years. I was going to school, college during the day, acting school at night.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting an agent from there. I had a really good coach who was like, you can get an agent and you can get paid for your work. And I was like, what, me? I can really do this? And I saw that it was possible for other people. And I had the skills, the talent, the training. So I signed with an agent, and I started getting lots of modeling work, magazine covers, commercials, and it was beautiful. It was an amazing time, because I was able to turn everything around and actually do something productive with my life.
Right.
And in that, I was still also, acting served as a place for me. The acting school served as a place for me to heal. Lots of the time when we're going through these self-destructive phases, there's so much unprocessed emotions, unprocessed trauma that we like to suppress. But in acting, you are encouraged, to express emotion.
Right.
The better you are at expressing, the better you are about embodying emotions, the better
Right.
actor you are. So simultaneously, it was just healing, as well as my career, because I was able to cry. I was able to yell, scream. I was able to be happy. And these are emotions that had been muted in my body for so long. So in that process, as I'm healing through acting in my work, I decided I still felt like I needed to give back. There was something in me that said, you have to do something for other people. So it's when I went to church, and I was helping at a soup kitchen. I was volunteering. Through that, I was able to start speaking. They hired a guest speaker every Friday, and I had volunteered to speak one time, and I gave one speech, and it was a 15-minute speech. It was barely a speech because it was so short, and I posted it on Facebook, and I took all my friends to see. A friend of mine who I was going to acting school with, she had just won this Arab USA. And she was like, oh my goodness, I didn't know you were a speaker. One of the companies that she had partnered with through her work, they were looking for speakers. And I said, no, I'm not a speaker. I just gave one presentation, but I'm not a speaker. And she's like, no, you have a story to tell. I've seen you at acting school. You can speak. So from there, I started speaking. And paid speaking. They gave me a coach, and I was, speaking all over town. And a year later, I decided to move to the Bahamas. And it was something that I always wanted to do. I wanted to live in the Caribbean. The opportunity presented itself. So I ended up moving, and it's when I took everything online. So I started this coaching. I just wanted to keep serving people. I just couldn't do it in the Bahamas the way I could do it here in the US.
Right.
So that was the first time around. There's a whole story behind that. But the first time around that I started a life coaching business and used the online space as my platform. And ended up going back home and got an opportunity to be a weather forecaster, a journalist, and so went back to TV. And
How long did you do that for? The working in the news station line?
About a year and a half. So I was there about a year and a half, and I decided there was a lot of work that went into that. There's so, I mean, you have to really love it. Yeah, you have to love it. It has to be your passion. So there's a lot of work that goes into that. And I thought, if I were to do my own thing, put even half of the work that I'm putting into this, and just serving others. I missed serving other people. I was like, what would that be like? So me going back to coaching after I had left it for TV, it was just my way of combining all of my talents and all of my just, all of my skills, all of my talents, all my passions, and then serving the world in that way. So
Right. All I can say is wow. No amount of research would have uncovered maybe so, but it's amazing. That's amazing, the transition. And so my natural reply to that is, won't he do it? Won't he do it? And and you've been able to be transformed, emerge from your cocoon of the mindset, the mental state, the place that you were in. You were able to find a way to express yourself and progress, and use that, leverage that to progress throughout your career, right? So we've gotten to the point now where you decided, look, working in a news station is just the amount of work. It's a lot. I can do this on my own. I can do this for myself. I can create my own economic empowerment, right, from doing this. So what was that true trigger point? What was that point that was it moving to the Bahamas? Was that it? And most people, if they're quitting their job, then they're at home, they're staying in their city. But you quit your job and you say, hey, I'm leaving the country. This is at that point as well. So how was that transition? What was that true point for someone that's out there? Because there's a word for that. It's called a nomad, right? You're a virtual nomad, right? And so a roaming nomad to a big extent. So what was that trigger point that allowed for that transition to truly happen for everyone that's watching out there?
So this is a very interesting question, because I've actually left my 9-to-5 and 3 times. The first time was
that. Sometimes it bees like that. Sometimes it is. Sometimes.
I was just kind of, and it seems like a mess as I was going through that at the time. But now, obviously, in retrospect, I'm like, oh, that makes all the sense of the world. Like that journey of I left my job. The first time around, I had a corporate job. And it drained my soul. I think I cried. I'm not lying. I cried every single day. Mm-hmm. The person that sat next to me, she would look at me. She's like, again? I'm like, I can't do this. I just can't. I cannot. It was not for me. Just sitting in a cubicle. You had to ask to go to the bathroom. It was like prison. Wow. So I was like, I can't do this. And that's when I first had started speaking. I just didn't know how much money could I really make through this. And I had an agent. I just wasn't sure. I can't it's very unstable when you are an actress, when you're a model. You can have, amazing work and get paid 1 month and the next month, nothing. So I was like, can I really do this? And then just one day, the trigger point was, I'll tell you the first one. My boyfriend at the time, he was from Italy. He had invited me to go, see his hometown, meet his family, travel through Italy. And he's like, but it's going to be a month trip. It has to be worth it. And I was like, a month? I only have 2 weeks of vacation. And if I even use those 2 weeks, I got nothing for the rest of the year. I can't do a month, but I also didn't want to miss out on the opportunity of a lifetime to, spend a month in Italy. So I had set a date and I said, this day I'm going to be gone. And everyone's like, yeah, right. Everybody says that. At that work, everybody was trying to leave, but they paid so well for what you did. At the same time, it didn't matter to me. And just one day, I think there was just a misunderstanding with me and my boss. I believe that's what it was. I didn't feel appreciated. It was just that cherry on top that just, the straw that broke the camel's back. And I was like, no more. I packed all my stuff and I left. And then that's when I started acting and modeling at the time. But because of that job, I was able to pay off my car. I was able to pay off all my debt, which by the time that the opportunity for the Bahamas came, it was easy for me to just kind of drop everything. I didn't have any debt. I didn't have, I had a phone bill, those kinds of things, the ongoing stuff. But it was easy for me to sell my car, sell my couches and all my furniture and move, because I already had a life set up for that. So, so then I transitioned to an online business. I had savings when I moved to the Bahamas, and I got very lucky. That first time around starting a coaching business, I got very, very lucky. Although they say luck is when a preparation meets
Meets
opportunity, right?
opportunity. Yep.
So that's really what it was. I got lucky, but at the same time, I had put in the work. My mentor, who is like world-renowned mentor, I had gone to New York prior to moving to the Bahamas. I had gone to New York and I had done this training that she did.
Mm-hmm.
It was like this convention. And I gave like this raving review because I felt it was life-changing. I loved her. I'd been watching her for years. So when I moved to the Bahamas, she ended up putting my raving review on the front, on her website somewhere. So everyone going on that website, she linked my website. So I'm like this new coach, you know, I barely know what I'm doing, and I'm getting flooded by like all her people, like, oh my goodness, like you worked with so-and-so. And I was just like, yes. So I was able to start a business. Lots of learning curves in that.
So was that the first time? Because you mentioned first time, second time.
Yeah.
And okay, so if that was the first time, what happened for you to have to go back and restart again? Because that's important. Many people, you have a situation where you're influxed with or influencer shouts you out, whether it's on Instagram or whatever platform. You have an influx of business. So that actually, whether you're selling a product and you have to manufacture or create that product again, or it's a service or it's a website, that's important. But many people have had to regroup in order to really get it right. What made you go through that process of regrouping to get it right again?
So I was not prepared. So so here's one advice, a piece of advice or mindset shift that I can give people is that in the beginning, most people start off slow, which whatever you're doing, you're trying to get some clients, you're trying to put your work out there. And it seems almost like you have this impatience of like, why is this so slow? Am I ever going to make it? Is anyone liking this? And, but there's a reason for that. Every client that you get, you're building experience. You can take your time, you can experiment, you can have the learning lessons. And I didn't necessarily have that. So I had all of these people flood in. I had no real infrastructure. I had no like real back end. I had no anything. So I started coaching people. I had zero boundaries with my clients. And I just wasn't prepared for that level of business. Aside from that, I still think I would have figured it out, but my mindset still wasn't 100%. This is why I became a mindset coach. Because at that time, I was life coaching. It was just general life coaching. But my mindset wasn't right. So I had built my business based on what I had seen other people build their business. So, the whole nomad life and, the work from anywhere and travel the world. And I work from my laptop. And it always looks so perfect, right? It looks like, wow, these people are living the dream. And like you're with you're traveling the world with your soulmate, and, you work from anywhere with ideal clients, and you set your own rules, and you work when you want to, you wake up when you want to, you go to sleep when you want to, you take a break wow, it all seems so, it's the dream. And it is a dream. I do that now. It is the dream. At the same time, there's always like a downside to everything, right? So for me, I had built this on the notion of everything has to look and be perfect. I got the opportunity to go to the Bahamas, and I was with my soulmate, and we were traveling a lot, and living this exotic lifestyle in this island, and it looked perfect. And I think that I was really struggling to keep up with the perfection of how things were. Not realizing that some things just weren't perfect. This soulmate was really not my soulmate. And this soulmate ended up cheating on me with a local. And we live on an island, everybody knows everything when you live on an island.
Right.
So I started like contemplating, like, is this really for me? Like, what am I going to do? And I just kind of wanted just to, again, my business was, even though there was clients coming in and there was money, it wasn't my ideal business. I didn't have the ideal clients. I just thought at that point, I just valued money for money. You know, like anybody that comes in, it's money, you got to take it.
Right.
I didn't realize that sometimes it's okay to say no to someone and say, this isn't for me, this isn't aligned, or we're not aligned, we're not a match. But I just thought it's a business and you got to make the customers happy. You got to take everyone. You never know. So I had less than ideal clients. I had a client that was stalking me. That's a whole different story. I had another client who was borderline, like verbally abusive. And so nothing was ideal. Nothing was perfect. And I just wanted to like kind of do away with everything. I'm like, this isn't what I signed up for. And I decided to go back home. Specifically to my parents' house. I felt like I needed that at the time. I just wanted to be close to friends, my best friends, my family. So I moved back home after not living back home since like for I don't know how many years, maybe a decade. So I went back after a decade. And I just wanted to regroup and reassess. And then for a minute there, I was like, I don't think coaching is for me. It was like that, who am I? Like, I can't even get it together. Look at my life. My life is in shambles. Like, so I maintained my audience online. I would still write personal development, but I didn't know if I was necessarily going to go back to coaching. So it was when I was back home that I got presented with the opportunity to be a weather forecaster or journalist. And I'd never done that before. I'd done other TV work. I've never done live TV. I've never done, weather forecast. People go to school and get, a degree in this. And I didn't go to school for weather forecasting, get a degree in it. I did 2 years of broadcast journalism because initially that's what I wanted to do. And then I realized the news is not for me. Like, this is not what I thought it was going to be. And I ended up, and then because I was doing acting school, I thought, I'm going to end up doing something acting related anyway. So I ended up getting a degree in business and sociology. Didn't finish a broadcast journalism one just because I didn't want to. So that was like, I had 2 years of broadcast journalism school and I did a bunch of writing. That's all I really did. So and when the opportunity presented itself, I was like, oh my goodness, I have no like background in this. But I was like, well, I could act like a weather forecaster.
I've seen the footage. You did a great job. There's some very famous weather forecasters out there, especially women of color that have large Instagram followings. And I think that, from what I've seen, you did a great job. You definitely did a great job from the footage that I've seen. Thank
you. Well, you probably saw my reel where I got the highlights. No, yeah. It started off not so great. And that's another piece of information. Like, don't be afraid to not be perfect in the beginning. I certainly was not. And I thought I had put so much pressure on myself because I'm like, I've done TV. I should be better than this. But it was like when you're put in, like I had 5 days of training and they put me on live TV doing the weather. And it's like, I don't even know what some of these words mean. I don't even know how to put together like the weather graphics and the slides. And, you're talking to the camera. There's no script for a weather forecaster. You're not reading a teleprompter. You're just, ad-libbing. You're just talking. And you have someone in your ear talking at the same time, telling you 3 minutes, do this, do that. And then you have like this green screen behind you and you're pointing it. So it's just like, it's just so much. And then you have to sound casual and then you have to look good. It's like, there's so much pressure. And so it was not good in the beginning. I was okay. I was just very nervous and it was very apparent. But you've got, 50,000, 100,000 people watching and what happens when there's these bloopers, these weather bloopers or journalist bloopers that go on YouTube and people just laugh at you. So that was like my biggest fear. Like, I just don't want to become a blooper. As long as I'm not a blooper, I'm okay. So
let me ask you this. So one of the things that I've kind of heard you talk about is about trying to live or put on this, I would say, facade of a perfect lifestyle, trying to fit into that. And one of my things is that when I put stuff out, I know that, and there's a certain, I guess, acceptance for me of accepting that what I put out isn't going to be perfect. I want to continue to drive towards perfection, but with the understanding, the sanity that I'm able to hold on to and keep is the fact and the understanding and the acceptance of the fact that it may never be perfect, but I can always strive for it, right? And so what level of, I would say, just sanity were you able to achieve, or, you know, even in your mindset, what was that point where you actually realized, okay, I'm not perfect, I can't be perfect, but I can strive towards that?
Yeah, so, you know, the honest truth is that I don't even know that I strive towards perfection anymore. And it's crazy. I just posted something about this today, a few hours ago, on my Instagram.
I promise it wasn't staged then.
What was that?
I said, I promise it wasn't staged. I didn't see that
Oh,
post.
no.
Great segue.
And I didn't call it perfect. I talked about having it figured out. And then like the first line was like, I don't always feel like I have it figured out. And then basically what I was just saying was that it's become no longer about perfection or figuring it out, but more about showing up, doing the best that I can, experimenting, climbing, ascending, growing. If there was a perfection, if there was a figuring it out, then I wouldn't have the opportunity to push myself, past my limits, go outside my comfort zone. And like, why would I want to do that? I like waking up. I love the uncertainty. I love feeling a little bit scared to do something. And so it's become more about how far can I push myself rather than how, is this perfect or not?
That's true.
I've also found this time around, since I restarted my business, because I started my business the same way I started my other one, based on this like perfect, like, oh, yes, I had this past, but look, and then I decided to throw all that away, and I realized that no one can relate to perfect. No one can relate to that.
That is true, and I think social media, especially, I've jumped onto the TikTok bandwagon lately, and seeing people, and I say, man, I love TikTok versus an Instagram, because there is still that prevalent facade of perfection that's there on Instagram, and pictures have to be perfect and this and that, where you have these people that are regular, they're doing their dances or they're doing their reaction videos, and sometimes they're in the bed. It doesn't matter, right? And it's more engaging for someone like myself, right? And so that's what I say too, even when I do this stuff. Now, my strive for perfection has been around even the look of the video and upgrading from one camera to the next camera and things like that. But I know it can't be perfect, but I know that I can improve, right? But seeing that natural human being there, being natural in their element, and just being casual, I think that's now the driving force behind so many engagements on social media, and especially in the rising platforms. Just wanted to throw that in there.
No, I 100% agree. That's what people relate to, a real person with, real challenges, real strengths, real weaknesses. And I'm with you. With video, with pictures, if it can be prettier, why not? If it can be this way, why not? I'm all into, aesthetics. Like, I want things to look a certain way. At the same time, if it doesn't, that's okay as well. It's no longer a pressure that I'm putting upon myself of like, if it's not like this and it's just the end of the world. It's more of like I'll do the best that I can. And that's kind of the point of my post was, I show up and I do my best in whichever way that looks that day. My best can be better on some days than other days. And the next day I wake up and I'm a more wiser, experienced version of myself than I was the day before. And then I move on with that. And basically what I was saying, because sometimes I hear my coaching clients say, well, you have it all figured out. Well, your life is perfect. And I'm like, when you put together day in and day out of showing up as your best and showing up and learning from the day before and learning, from the day before that one, when you show up and you put that in the collection, or like Instagram or even TikTok, anything, and even YouTube, any platform, it looks like that person has it figured out. But in reality, there's a learning curve. There's a lot happening behind the scenes. And it's just about showing up every day. And in the mistakes, you learn how to do it better the next time. So of course, if you're looking at, at my latest work or somebody else's latest work, it looks like, oh, wow. But it's like, no, this took years. This was years and years in the making. So We had touched upon earlier about imposter syndrome before, and this is the thing about imposter syndrome. Like, we look at the experts, right, and we're like, oh, I could never be this expert. Who am I? I'd rather other people book them or talk to them because they have it all figured out. But an expert was just a person that didn't give up. I mean, they had their first day and their first 6 months and their first year at some point. They just kept going. So that's what an expert is. And that's what we really should be focusing on, the growth. So I think I've shifted from perfection, because that's never going to happen. It's impossible. We're all just winging it, in this earth, everyone's winging it. No one has it figured out. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care how much money you have. You're still winging it because you've never lived this day, before. You've never lived tomorrow before. So we're all just winging it. And we're just growing every day. And if you're focused on growing, you're focused on what can I learn from yesterday, or my past mistake, or my past, my past video, my past whatever, my past interview, what can I learn and how can I make it better? Then you just improve upon that. But it's just building blocks rather than perfection. It's growth, growth, not perfection. So I think I started doing that. And then also being okay with the imperfections. I think that when I started being okay with it, people are like, oh, I can relate to her. And not so much being okay with being myself. The imperfections and the little bit more perfections, like, again, strength, weaknesses. And I think what we all want is to feel comfortable in our own skin. And that's appealing to other people, like, to seeing someone else who's okay with, they flubbed the word. That's okay. They didn't die. Everything's okay. And I tell my clients this every single time. I'm like, my goal isn't to make you perfect. My goal is to show you that you can be successful despite the imperfections. Anyone that you admire, we can think of, all the big names, Oprah, Elon Musk, you name that person, they're not perfect, yet they still found a way to rise above. So
that's true.
Sometimes we tend to focus on the wrong message. We have to be like this, because it's like, no, none of these people are perfect and they made it. So why not you?
So let me shift into a little bit more of the freelancing that you've done lately. And it's kind of interesting because you've established this business now. And, ironically, I hate saying it, but I found you on another platform. And what we're doing with Incluzion, of course, now is we actively connect, of course, professionals to all sorts of either remote-based work or freelance-based work. And we think that freelance, is going to be one of the drivers of the future of economic empowerment for diverse individuals. What led you into deciding, hey, you know what? I'm going to see if I can also not only build my business, but lend my talents out to other people in order for them to thrive and, provide a service add to what they're doing as well. What was that point? What was that decision? What went into that?
Yes. So I had the background of, acting, modeling, weather forecasting, journalism. And I had moved here to Miami. So after moving back home, I decided it's time for a fresh start. I moved here to Miami, and I got a job doing marketing. And oh my goodness, like, it was insane. It was insane. I had the craziest boss. He was like craziest. So many people did not like him. He was like a scammer, a cheater, like just really bad person. Wow. But the job allowed me a lot, like lots of flexibility and freedom. He's just like, I don't care if you work 1 hour, I don't care if you work a million, bring me results. And I was good at that, and gave me a car, gave me a cell phone. Like, it was very flexible. But this guy was just so scammy, so sleazy. So I started thinking, like, oh my goodness, I need to get out of this. And my whole point of moving here was so I could start a coaching business. I wanted a job with flexibility so I could start something on the side. And because he was so crazy, I was like, I have to start thinking of plan B, or not plan B, just escape route.
Right.
So I thought to myself, what can I do? What skills do I have that I can, that I can make money off of? And at the time, I just didn't feel like I had anything. I didn't count, talent work as a skill. And I was like, who's going to pay for that? Why would they pay for this? So, but I was like, this is the only thing I really like put all my effort into. So I thought about getting, an agent here, but then I was like, that's never consistent work. Like I need something that's consistent. And there was a mindset block that lots of people that are in, these talent based careers have. Like it's hard to make money with your talents. Like you need this big production, and you need to sign a contract or a deal. So there's always that block, which I had, like, I can't really make money with this. I would need to really get lucky.
Mm-hmm.
So at the time, I had a friend of mine was like, you would be perfect at freelancing your talents. And I was like, people will pay for that. And he was like, yes. He's like, get on all of the freelancing platforms, and people are looking for this work. I've been doing it, and I've been making this much money. And I was like, really? And he's like, yes, people will love your look. And I'm sure that you do really well, especially with your background. So that's what I did. And then from there, I got in touch with lots of, PR agencies got in touch with me. They started putting me in touch with other people. And yeah, just to conclude that story with my job, it turns out we were being sued. Myself included. My name was on a lawsuit of this multi-billion-dollar company. I'm not going to mention the name, but this multi-billion-dollar company was suing us for like copyright infringement or something like that. And that's when I was like, no way, like he's crazy. At the same time, the car, maybe a couple of weeks later, the car that I was using for work breaks down. So it felt like, this is my sign, like get out of here. At the time, that other business wasn't making that much money. Miami, the prices here, I live in Miami Beach, out of all places, prices here are crazy for apartments, and, being the proximity to the beach. But I just decided to take a chance, and I went for it. But that's what it was. It was mainly just trying to do something with my talents and free myself from this, just a job in general. I wanted to work for myself, and the opportunity showed up. It was just that putting it out there of, what can be done.
Well, look, I'm thoroughly excited and glad that I found you, and we were able to bring you into what we're doing with Incluzion. And one of the things I would say from someone, the person who contacted you, and I've been doing this for years I had a previous tech startup, and spent a lot of money hiring people on other platforms, looking for particularly Black candidates or some other Latinx, diverse candidates, women professionals on these platforms that especially were stateside, right? And in many instances, it's hard. It's sending out multiple messages, and some people may not respond, some people aren't active. And that's one of the things that really led into even building out the inclusion ecosystem. And even though we've brought in now remote jobs and so forth, a lot of our core still is around empowering individuals around freelance work and just flexible work, and empowering them with the ability to access a flexible work-life balance. Now, that's all kind of been shifted around. Just because you're at home with the kids and they're wrecking your nerves, and that's not necessarily a flexible, optimal work-life balance, right? So, but that's where connecting with individuals like yourself that have gone through those experiences and can even come into our community and provide coaching and provide value to the community. That's what we want to continue to build around, with that value of saying, you know what, in addition to that, in addition to getting your mind right, we need to make sure that we can also provide substantial avenues for getting your pockets right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's inclusion. And that's why I love meeting individuals like yourself that have embodied the struggle of going through these different processes, because this is the future. You know, from now on, you know, from the latest iteration of your business, I'm pretty sure you're set on the fact that I'm not going back to work for a 9 to 5.
Oh no, no, no.
I did a short gig with back in Pensacola. I'm in Atlanta, of course, now, but back in Pensacola, we had a morning show called The Morning Brew, and so they asked me to come on for a few days as a guest speaker. I mean, as a guest host. So I had my short-lived time as a TV personality as well, and getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning and getting ready and going through that whole process. You know, it's daunting, right? It's challenging in many ways, and I much respect to the people out there that do it on a daily basis, right? But that wasn't for me. It was a nice experience, and from what you've explained, as well, of course, it's not for you either. So this is great meeting you, and this is the ecosystem we want to be able to bring. It's people like yourself that's representative of diversity and inclusion, and bring you into our ecosystem. So this has been amazing. One of the things that, you know, I touched on at the beginning was the fact that, you know, we're bringing you on as one of our kind of faces of inclusion and being able to help produce the video content. That's great. But I want to continue to involve you in so many other ways that will help you even build your business, right? And add value to your business. I think that those are the type of relationships that we like to be able to bring into the inclusion community from there. Speaking of, are you on Clubhouse yet?
I just got on.
Okay. I had a few invites, so I just got on it myself. So we do it for anyone watching. We do have an inclusion club now. And so I need to find you and connect with you as well on there. I think there's so many different and great conversations that are happening on Clubhouse, and so many different groups that are out there. So we'll be adding our value in as well from the inclusion community around remote and flexible work opportunities and flexible professionals working remotely. So yeah, I want to say this. If you can drop your social, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you? If they are interested in your mindset, coaching, and many of the other things, what's your website and what's the best way for someone to reach you on social media?
Yeah, so my name is written on here, Soul Ballard, at Soul Ballard at any platform, or soulballard.com.
Preferably Instagram though, right?
Yeah, so my main hangout spot is Instagram. So yeah, if you message me on Twitter, it might take it might take a little bit for me to respond.
That's an inside joke. It's esoteric. So
yeah. But Instagram is like my favorite hangout spot, and that's where you'll catch me replying back the fastest. But yes, definitely reach out. Got lots of stuff. I also have lots of free trainings, lots of amazing programs for people that are just getting started with business, and then more advanced people that have been in the game and just want to push themselves a little bit further. So yeah, definitely have a lot of that going on. So reach out, or just reach out and say hi. I'm all about conversations. I'm all about connecting with people. And so, or if you have something amazing you have to say, I do a Mindset Monday every week. And I bring on amazing people on my live, and we just chat, either mindset or anything business related, or any message that you feel in your heart that you need to spread.
And that's on Instagram, right?
I do that on Instagram. Yeah, Instagram Live.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. This is amazing. I'm thoroughly happy to hear your story, your background, the arc. This isn't, of course, you haven't reached that peak yet. No. Definitely not. You have so much more growth and prosperity, and so I'm glad that we can cross paths and merge that. A lot of that we're doing with inclusion and our mission. I would say the last thing, and I've asked you this privately but publicly, what drew you to inclusion and what we're doing in our mission? That at this point, it seems like at this point in your life, you have the choice to choose who you would want to engage with in so many different areas. What made you choose inclusion?
Oh, I love what you guys are doing. I seriously love it. I love that when I saw like Black and Latinx, I was like, that's me, you know, I'm both. So I love that I can talk to other people in my communities. Also, not to get a little bit deep again, but after the George Floyd death last year, I had lots of thinking to do. I realized that I was just not getting involved with either community. I just kind of like decided, you know, because race had played a big factor in my life, that I was just like, let's just not deal with it, talk about it, set it aside, and let's just be people. But because of that, I realized like, no, this is something we need to talk about. These are communities that if I need to emphasize in any community, these are the communities. And if I'm going to use my talent, my skills, my gifts, I really should be focusing a lot in the Latin Black communities, a lot more than just forgetting about race in general, because as much as you want to forget, it still plays a role in everyone's lives. It's there. Yeah, it's there. So anyway, so when I saw this, and then of course I work remotely, and I started off, you know, my coaching business as a freelancer, solely like freelancing, and working from home and having that flexibility, it has been a blessing. Just, you know, like you said, sometimes not so much with things going on in your home, but overall it's just having that flexibility over your life, over how you spend your time, you know, how you live, the quality of life that you have. So anyway, so all of this combines everything that I believe in. I believe in freeing yourself mentally, financially, physically. You don't have to be anywhere if you don't want to be. And everyone has the right to earn in abundance and using their talents and their skills. And then everyone has a right to grow as a person. So everything that I believe in this company, so in your organization. So I don't know, I'm just so excited. And
I am also. Look, everything you said is great. You know, I don't ask that. I do ask that question in many instances we've had these interviews, because, you know, it's not as a way to hype up my ego or anything that we're doing, but we have to explain. There are people that don't understand that of why the focus of inclusion is the way it is, right? And sometimes it needs that third party validation for people to understand, and it needs to be explained in many ways. So I think you've eloquently explained, you know, your reasonings and your reasoning behind your attraction towards what we're doing, and now your inclusion into inclusion and your participation in inclusion. So I mean, this has been a great conversation. As you can see, because you're going to be on my side, 48 minutes could go by really quickly. So we're gonna stop it there for everyone that's out there watching. You'll see me, you'll see Soul, you'll see us back for various conversations with new and upcoming Flexwork TV episodes. Until then, everyone, we'll see you again later.